So my father goes, you got to come see this cottage. So when did I fly? I fly Ben back Sunday. Ben misses his flight because he has Bojangles and falls asleep in the airport like an idiot. He has Bojangles in he misses his connecting flight. Not yet in Charlotte. He doesn't miss the flight he should miss at 6 a.m. out of LaGuardia. He's there for that. He misses the connecting flight because he eats Bojangles and then goes to sleep in the airport like an idiot, okay? Like a fool. And then he runs over to them and they're like, are you Ben Avery? He's like, yeah. And they're like, yeah, we called you a bunch. And, he's like, all right. So then his next flight's like 5 hours from now. So then he goes back to Bojangles and eats a second meal at Bojangles in the Charlotte airport. And I call my father. I go,
Jesus,
I'll come out to see the cottage today because they've been very insistent that I see this cottage, which is 20 minutes from the house that they own. They're trying to figure out if they can live in a smaller space, and then they may sell the bigger house and then maybe get something in Florida or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? He's like, okay, well, and we've had this plan for a while. He goes, yeah, well, we're going to go to our friend's house today that has a pool. You're more than welcome to come to that. What? Hey, I'm almost on a train heading to Long Island to come see your house. I'm going to go to your friend. I don't even know these people. And I'm going to go swim in their fucking pool and eat their food. I don't know them.
Oh,
what? But it's, again, this is just the mentality of the boomer. It is, yeah, sorry about that. Who are you?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you, my only child? Yeah. We have a very casual relationship with someone that owns a pool. We're going to go there.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go there. Sorry. Don't worry about it. We'll see you again. Not a big deal. No one has loved their children less than that generation.
Yeah.
Nobody has cared less, who has been more casual, very super cash. He's like, So the next day, I call the next day, okay? I call the actual next day, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll come out today. So I'm leaving tomorrow. And then he's like, yeah, and then I'm like, I'll Uber from the train. It's not a big deal. And then him and his wife start arguing about that the Uber will be too expensive from the train and that he should just pick me up. But it's becoming an argument, and you can hear it. Right. She's like, no, you pick him up. My dad's like, I think he has a car. My dad's like, he's got a car. My dad invents a car that I don't have. My dad goes, he'll drive here. They start fighting about it. I'm like, I don't even love either of you. I just want to go swimming. I just want to swim. I don't care. What do you think you two are? Great conversationalists? I just want to come and swim. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, okay, guys, I can't do it. I have a meeting. No worries. No problems. Goodbye. They're done now. They've been written off. They're done. We will review an application next year to see them potentially. But the holidays are done. I'm a free agent for the holidays now.
Nice.
Except my aunt. I might go to my aunt. We're going to do a Christmas thing in Rhode Island. But I'm a free agent for the holidays. I'm no longer. We're going to put all the archives up when we do the Patreon. You guys can go to this episode called My Last Christmas, where I detail why I was no longer going to participate in my stepmother's idea of a holiday, which was getting supermarket catered food and eating it in sweatpants like a methadone clinic, and then doing the hokey pokey with a bunch of lobotomized relatives that I half know. So that is now over. Eating macaroni and cheese that was stirred by a heroin addict in a Long Island supermarket, okay? And then they did the hokey pokey at the end. Like a bunch of them got up and they were like, they're doing they weren't even drunk. Our family parties.
Oh, that's so tragic. They weren't even drunk.
Our family parties used to be just debauchery and drinking. Did you ever have like big family parties?
Yeah. There was always a big political fight at the end.
Why?
Because my mom's side of her family is more Republican and my dad's side is more Democrat, and they would.
And your mom is fucking plugged in.
Yeah. My mom wouldn't get involved. This is when my mom wasn't interested in this type of shit.
That's a great thing about being a conspiracy person is you let the people fight and they ignore you. Like one side's like taxes, the other side's like healthcare,
and you're just like kids
and
getting raped.
You're like, mind control factory farms of human beings. And they're like I have a joke now where it's barely a joke where I go, I believe in lizard death cults that, I'm a centrist. That's the centrist. I'm in the center. I'm the despised center now. But like an Irish family, we started off, everybody was hammered. Everybody was happy. My father had 7 brothers and sisters. One of them died of melanoma, young. Everyone else was still alive. A lot of great music. My grandfather had a big, beautiful home that he built himself. A lot of fun, fist fights, craziness, whatever. Great big meals. We had 50 people at Thanksgiving. My nanny would have 2 22-pound turkeys and a little bird. It was a massive thing. It would go to 4 or 5 a.m. And we grew up in that. We grew up in that world of debauchery, fun,
Sounds very
chaotic. It was great. It was very Irish family, singing, fighting, whatever, food, drinking. Now it's not as fun because all of my relatives have been divorced and all their kids are heroin addicts.
Oh.
So it's no longer as fun anymore because the legacy of growing up in that environment has been that you can't leave your coat in a room unattended because someone will go rifle through it to go get a package. Now they're doing good now, my cousins. They're doing good now, but I'm not excluding myself, by the way, either. I had a rough time. I used to steal. I would steal at family parties. I would run the pockets of an aunt or an uncle, and I probably still will. But we were bad kids, and we grew up in that environment where we were like, oh, we should be getting fucked up. And this is an Irish family. If you're truly Irish, it's great in the beginning, and it has a lot of promise, and everybody's excited, and the kids are going to take over the world, and they're all going to be Kennedys. And then, like the Kennedys, except the highs aren't as high, but the lows are pretty low. At the end of the Irish family, it's a disaster, and people are divorced, people are broke, they're bankrupt, they have multiple addictions, they're depressed, mental illness. It's all bad. It's all very bad. It's the end of an Irish. What are you race-wise?
Italian and Lebanese.
But not strongly Italian or strongly
No,
Lebanese.
there's no real. The heritage was like Lebanese. Like we'd have, hummus and tabbouleh.
California kind of steamrolls ethnicity.
Yeah,
right.
You just leave it. You just don't.
You don't feel like it feels here like you're just an American mutt,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah,
the culture is California culture.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, there's no. You don't stick to anything really.
Yeah, in the East Coast, people stay in their little enclaves, and
that's where everyone came through the East Coast, so they feel more like they should.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a tough family. I mean, it's tough now when you were at the family parties now, and you're like, there's cousins that are like, some cousins are really brilliant. Like there's one kid who's brilliant but kind of autistic. Maybe he's not autistic. He's like brilliant. He's like very smart. He's going to go to an IV. But he like doesn't say anything to anyone. Maybe he's just disgusted by us.
You might just be terrified.
Like, everyone's like, I think he's autistic. I'm like, I think he's disgusted. I think he's disgusted that the most successful member of this family is a gay clown. I think he's a little disgusted that that's the only member of the family not currently under like indictment. I think that's why he's not making facial expressions, because the only facial expression he'd make is just crying. He would just cry.
Yeah.
And then there's other cousins that are friendly, and then there's my generation of cousins, and they're woo. All of us had our issues.
Yeah.
All of us.
You can tell though everyone's kind of white knuckling. Like I just wish we could just all go back to getting fucked up.
I think a lot of people are white knuckling. I think the damage of certain life decisions doesn't necessarily reverse itself. This is what people need to realize. When you make certain decisions and you go into certain corners of the world, you can leave those corners of the world. Some of those corners of the world stay with you. So there are people in the family, and not only cousins, but older people, wherever, where, those people, and myself probably are one of them, where you're like, yeah, we'll never have the experience on the planet that people had that were not involved in some of those things. Like there are people I meet, and I have, there's maybe I envy them because they've never stolen money from their family. A lot of people have never stolen money from their family. I've stolen money. You know what I mean? A lot of people have never invented a fake school trip and printed up fake permission slips to try to get money to go do drugs. You know?
Cashed a fake check.
Yeah.
You ever do that?
No. Have you done that?
No, I heard heroin addicts can do it though. They do it like they need like $100 and then they just don't care about
They're
credit.
the best.
Yeah,
I never went there. I never went to that part, you know? But like there are things with my family where I go, maybe that partying wasn't great for all of us to grow up around. Some of it was. I mean, listen, there are people that grew up because the next generation of cousins didn't grow up with that. They didn't grow up with that. We grew up with that.
Right.
So we internalized that as like, oh, that's the way to have fun. So when we all went out, when we were 13 or 14 and we could fucking, get booze or drugs, we went out and we were like, let's go do it. Because we had grown up with the idea that that was how to have fun. That's how you have fun. I was just talking to a friend of mine recently and I'm like, after 30, drinking looks bad. It just doesn't look great after the age of 30. It looks good again around 60. It looks distinguished again in a bar when you have a nice suit on, you're having a nice cocktail, whatever. You're on, you met a woman off an app who's 19 and she's trying to pay her college loans. You're going to go eat her ass later in a Hyatt. Whatever it is, it's a distinguished look. It's a nice look.
Yeah, drinking's cool at the start of life and at the end.
Yes.
The middle, you're kind of supposed to be.
19, you're like, yeah, look, I just fucking fucked up. My bros and my bitch. 30, it looks bad. You look nervous. Every 30-year-old who's drinking looks nervous, and they should be because they realize that life is passing them by. If you need, go get a potato and put a Marlboro Light in its mouth and watch that and then press play on your phone.